Dustin pulls back the curtain to feed his pet, but the tank's shattered. Only a slimy skin remains. He turns around and spots blood on the carpet. Behind the sofa, D'Artagnan is feasting on his mom's cat. He notices Dustin, then snaps open its Venus flytrap-like maw. Its features match the monster from Season 1 exactly. Dustin instantly realizes how dangerous it is. He lies to his mom, saying the cat ran away, and sends her out to look for it. Next, he opens the cellar door in the yard, slips on a helmet and protective gear, and places Spam on the floor. He calls D'Artagnan out for food, then darts into the outdoor shed to hide. Moments later, the little monster emerges, following the trail of food straight toward the cellar. Dustin bursts out of the shed and slams a stick into D'Artagnan, sending it tumbling into the cellar. He locks the door immediately, trapping the monster inside. After burying the cat's remains and cleaning up the blood, Dustin radios his friends, but no one answers. He rides his bike to Mike's house, only to learn Mike isn't home. Just then, Steve arrives with roses, hoping to apologize to Nancy, who's also out. Desperate for backup, Dustin asks Steve for help. Steve grabs his custom spiked bat, stands tall with righteous resolve, and heads into the cellar alone. But the monster is nowhere to be seen, only a huge shed skin. Clearly, D'Artagnan has grown much larger and burrowed a hole to escape. Meanwhile, the chief stares at Will's drawings and connects them to vines. He suspects a link to the recent destruction of pumpkin patches at local farms. Grabbing a shovel, he heads to a pumpkin patch and starts digging. Sure enough, vines lurk beneath the soil. A few shovelfuls later, the vines scurry away, revealing a deep hole. The chief grabs a flashlight, climbs down, and discovers the underground is overrun with vines and white fluff, forming a maze of interconnected tunnels. A lump emitting noises catches his eye. But as soon as he gets close, the lump sprays toxic spores. The chief collapses unconscious. Moments later, the hole he dug is covered by vines. At the same time, Mike visits Will and finds him covered in cold sweats, with strange drawings plastered all over his house. Will admits the monster has possessed him. He can't break free, and he's seeing the monster's memories in real time. Mike tells him not to be scared. This might actually be a good thing. Now, Will is like a spy, able to monitor the monster's every move and help them stop it. Predictably, this unique connection saves the chief's life. When the chief wakes up, and the vines quickly wrap around his body, swallowing him whole, Will feels the chief's danger in real time and sketches his surroundings. Joyce and Mike compare the drawing to Will's maze and pinpoint its location on the abstract map, though they can't tell which real-world spot it corresponds to. Just then, Bob arrives with a toy for Will. Left with no other choice, Joyce has to pull him into this danger. To everyone's surprise, Bob actually understands Will's drawings. He realizes the pieced-together paths are a map of the town. He asks Joyce to measure the distance between lakes, then converts them to the town map's scale, pinpointing the chief's approximate spot. They rush out to save him. Meanwhile, the lab runs tests on the pumpkin patch soil. No pollution, no toxins, nothing out of the ordinary. They split the soil into samples, heating just one. Miraculously, the heated sample floats and spins on its own, and the unheated samples, they start doing the same. That night, Will uses the monster's shared memories to track down the chief's car. A massive hole gapes nearby, writhing vines at its center. Joyce tells Will and Mike to stay in the car. She grabs a shovel, hacks through the vines, then climbs into the tunnel with Bob. At the fork, Joyce spots a cigarette. That's exactly what the chief threw there to mark his path. Following it, they find him tangled in vines. Joyce slices him free with a blade and pull him to safety. But just then, armed lab agents arrive, flamethrowers in hand, evacuate the cave. Now they shout. As the flamethrowers roar to life, incinerating the vines, Will collapses in agony. His body convulses, racked with pain. The group rushes him to the lab for treatment. Will thrashes, screaming that every inch of him burns, but the researchers find no physical injuries. Left with no other option, they inject him with a sedative, sending him into a deep sleep. Now, let's shift our focus to the high schoolers. A few days earlier, Nancy visited Barb's parents with Steve, only to find a for sale sign in their yard. Barb had been missing for a year, and the police investigation had hit a dead end. Desperate, Barb's parents were selling their house to hire Murray, a renowned Chicago detective, to find their daughter. Seeing their exhausted yet hopeful faces, Nancy was overwhelmed with guilt. She blamed herself for Barb's death and wanted to tell the truth, afraid Barb's parents would waste the rest of their lives chasing answers. But Steve begged her to stay quiet, warning her that breaking their CIA agreement could destroy their family. At a party, Nancy drowned her sorrows in alcohol. Steve tried to stop her, accidentally spilling drink all over her. Emboldened by the alcohol, Nancy unleashed all her resentment towards Steve. She only pretended to love him because she felt guilty about Barb. Heartbroken, Steve left. Jonathan, who just arrived, witnessed the fight. He took the unconscious girl he loved home. When she sobered up, Jonathan urged her to move on from the past. But Nancy was seething with anger. How could they let the culprits get away with murder? Her eyes landed on someone listening to a tape recorder, and she hatched a plan. They skipped school, called Barb's mom, and arranged to meet in the park to tell her the truth about Barb's death. Unbeknownst to them, the lab was monitoring their call. At the park, Barb's parents never showed up. Jonathan and Nancy noticed they were being watched. They tried to leave, but their car wouldn't start. It had been tampered with. People surrounded them, ordering them to come to the lab for a visit. Dr. Owens knew they wouldn't give up easily, so he told them everything. The people responsible for the mess were dead. He was now doing his best to clean it up. Moreover, the real evil came from the upside down. They couldn't fully close the gate, but they were trying to stop it from spreading. And in the middle of the Cold War, if word got out to enemies like the Soviet Union, it would be catastrophic, costing even more lives. Dr. Owens begged them to keep it quiet, but Nancy didn't believe him. Once they were far from the lab, she pulled a tape recorder from her bag. She had been recording the entire conversation, determined to expose the lab and make them pay for Barb's death. But they couldn't take down the lab alone. They needed someone more powerful. A day later, they drive out of town to a warehouse and ring the doorbell. It's Murray, the private detective Barb's parents hired. Murray, who's spent months investigating, is convinced Barb was killed by Soviet spies. Nancy immediately spots his mistake. He's mixed up the timeline and Eleven's identity. She tells him the whole story and plays Dr. Owens' tape. Murray short-circuits. He dreamed of exposing spies and becoming a hero, only to find out his own government is behind it all. He warns them the tape won't hold up in court. The upside down is too bizarre, no one will believe it. After downing a bottle of vodka, Murray has a revelation, inspired by diluting the drink. If people can't handle the truth directly, dilute it. Tell the press Barb died from toxic gas leaked by the lab. It'll spark public outrage, media scrutiny, and force the government to shut the lab down. That night, with Nancy and Jonathan's help, Murray copies the tape and sends it to newspapers across the country, along with an anonymous letter. When they try to leave, Murray insists they stay overnight. He even suggests they share a bed. As a detective, he's noticed their feelings for each other. Though they deny it, they end up in separate rooms. But teenage hormones are too strong to ignore. Nancy finally opens her door and finds Jonathan just as restless. Nancy had once subtly confessed her feelings to Jonathan after they'd survived danger together, but he'd missed the hint.
I waited.
Like only a month.
But better late than never, the universe always finds a way to bring lovers together.